where you were describing the trends and comparisons between kidnapping and abduction for access to monies, holding someone for a brief period of time without making a ransom demand to their family and other people associated with them.
Yes, thank you, Thulasizwe. So what we have is the main category is the one where people are taken for ransom. We've seen a dramatic increase in those people, largely of Indian origin, Pakistanis, Somalis, Mozambicans, people from the Far East, and so on. Those kidnappings are again classified further into two major groups, one where the so-called bigger syndicates are involved, and then you have the so-called smaller syndicates, the copycat gangs. I was saying it's a number of active cases on the go at the moment. One in Cape Town of Cape Town businessman Ismail Raja, who was kidnapped in March, an Indian national in the West Rand of Gauteng. He's still missing. He was taken about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we have had a number of smaller cases. The other category, Thulasizwe, is when you're, for example, hijacked and you are taken hostage or you are taken captive while they empty your bank accounts or while they try to find a tracking device in your vehicle, that's also classified as a kidnapping, but within hours after they've emptied your bank accounts or after they found your tracking device, they let you go. So that is also contributing to the high numbers that we are seeing in terms of overall kidnappings.
Yeah. Lastly, Yusuf, I heard a comment from Godrich Gadi, of course, who has suffered this tragedy of having his daughter killed in the manner that happened in Mpumalanga after she was taken, we are told now, by 4 men, that crime being committed against her. In paying tribute to her, Godrich Gadi makes the point that, I suppose he's talking about the fertile condition for a crime like kidnapping and abduction to thrive, in that he says, other people, hundreds of people fall victim to this crime, but never really get to report it. And I suppose he says that in confluence with police incompetence, he says, leads to the conditions that have led to the tragedy that he has suffered, more importantly, to the death of Hilary Gadi. You're thinking about the extent to which people report this kind of crime and have confidence that this kind of crime will be resolved. Because I know that some categories of crime, Yusuf, you and I know, that people end up saying that, what's the point? I'm thankful that I came out of it alive, and let me just move on and buy whatever assets I may have lost, because they will simply not be resolved.
Well, first of all, the Hilary Gadi murder, obviously a tragedy that has shocked the nation. We find many of these incidents where women especially are not only abducted, kidnapped, they go missing for days, and subsequently it ends up very tragically. And I think in this particular case, a lot of questions have already been raised about the poor police investigation, the fact that a bullet was apparently not even discovered by the police only until the post-mortem was done. Many cases, Thulasizwe, go unreported. People have lost confidence in the police service. People have lost confidence in their capability of investigating. And that is why even when people go missing sometimes, you have to force them to go and report it to the police. Let's remind the public again, there is no waiting period to report a loved one missing. If it happens, immediately you go to the police, report it missing. They're supposed to give you a case number and keep the investigating officer updated. I always say to families of victims of people that are abducted or kidnapped, even people going missing, please go and report it to the police. While there might be poor investigations, while you might not get good feedback, it's important that we bring these culprits to book. If we don't report it, these people simply continue to run amok. They keep on taking other victims. They keep on kidnapping. And let's not forget, there's 2 categories. When we talk of kidnapping and abductions, obviously the overall term might mean the same. Abduction is very often related to children that are taken, especially in custody battles. We refer to that as abductions. Kidnappings is what we've seen recently, and which we're seeing more and more, where people are taken either for ransom or either to empty their bank accounts. But I think the mere fact that people are fed up with the criminal justice system overall is an indication that police really need to get their act together. And it will be interesting to see how the investigation into Hilary's murder is going to unfold. We are told there are 3 people of interest. and whether these people will eventually be convicted, we will have to wait and see, and we hope that the police will get to the bottom of this case.
Yusuf, I've got to thank you for your time and your insights here on eNCA. That's anti-crime activist of Crime Watch, that is Yusuf Abramjee, weighing in there on the situation around kidnappings as well as abductions in the country. There'll be crime statistics we heard from the Minister of Police in the coming weeks that will be released. What I'm looking forward to is to, over and above the diagnosis of what the problem is, I don't think there's a South African who doesn't know what the problem is with crime in this country. What are the measures that have been implemented since the last crime statistics and where we are today, and how are we looking going forward? Because it seems to many of us that the criminals have us against the ropes in this country, and we are not fighting back adequately, at least at this stage.